we're going to get started. Welcome to your future. Are you excited?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I want to hear. Okay, so what we're going to do, this is a workshop. So I'm going to walk you through the ways that you can start to wrap your arms around your goals. And I'm also going to stretch you today and encourage you to think big, right? So we know from the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, it's all about thinking big. So little goals create small results. Would you say that's true?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and how many of you are ready for small results in your life or your business? Small?
I think big.
No, big, right? So you're going to think big. Big goals create big results. So that's what I want you to keep thinking today. Now, do we also want to hit our goals?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so we're going to be realistic too, right? Yeah, how do you know when you've hit your full potential?
You don't.
You don't know when you've hit your full potential, right? So is it possible that at some point this morning you're going to start thinking about a goal? Did you get a handout?
Yeah.
Okay. That you're going to be thinking about a goal and you're going to say, this is realistic, but it's possible you're only playing safe. What's the difference between being realistic and playing safe?
Maybe achievability.
Okay.
You know?
How do you know when you're playing it safe?
When you took a goal less than you did the year before.
Okay, well, certainly if your goals are less than the year before, that's not happening in this room.
If it doesn't keep you up.
Yes. And what did you just say? Yeah, if you create a goal and it feels good, it's too small. You're playing it safe. Okay? When you write a goal down and you think about changing it, you're on the right path. When you write a goal down and it sits right here and you're like, oh my gosh, am I crazy? Then you know you're on the right path. Me too. I just set my goals for next year and you tell them what happened. Did you not walk in my office right after I did it?
I did. She wasn't going to do it, actually. I coached the coach.
She did.
She had to push it up higher. I asked her how many she had recruited this year, and she was really, what were we going, 10 over? Maybe 20 over? And I was
Look,
like,
I'm embarrassed to say. Yeah.
Hey, you make us do it all the time, so your turn.
Yeah.
So, nope. And you put the bigger number.
Yeah.
I said hit send.
So let me just share something.
Where's your goal?
My goal is to net 100 new agents next year for our market center. But I want to make sure you all understand why. Because I think any of you would know, I don't come across, I hope, as a recruiter, right? It's about opportunity. So when I set a goal to bring a certain number of new people to this market center, it's about the lives I'm going to affect, right? But more importantly than that, it's about what's going to happen in their business and what's going to happen in this market center. Because I can't create our other goals, which is around company dollar, which leads to your profit share. I can't create goals around sales volume. I can't create goals around market share until I know how big our team will look, right? So until I create the goal to bring a certain number of new people to the market center, I can't create the rest of the future vision. So I have to say, you know, I'm just as human as everybody else. I had a moment where I was like, oh no, the school is way too big. I can't do this right now. And I was really glad that Rebecca walked in when she did, because she called me out on it. And you know what? I did share with her, right? So what was that really saying about my subconscious?
I need to be pushed.
I knew that I needed someone to tell me, yes, you can do this, right? Like, I already knew the goal had to be what it was, but we're going to let her think she helped me figure it out. All right, so if you're just joining us, we're just getting into a mindset right now. That's what this is about. It's preparing your mindset. Because at some point this morning, someone's going to say, I feel good about my goal, and it could be that you're playing it safe rather than thinking big. All right, because the goal is about stretching you. So I want you to think about where you are right now in your business and where you really want to be in a year from now. What do you want to see change in your life? What do you want to see change in your business, your income? And then we're also going to talk about what activities you have to focus on to get there. So, excuse me, this will also be probably a continuation too in a conversation about who's going to help you get there. So if you're coaching with me, we can have that conversation. And if you're not coaching with someone, we need to have that conversation. Sound fair? Say yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, so Another thing that I want you to think about in terms of small goals versus big goals, small goals limit your potential. So when I asked you before, how do you know if you're hitting your full potential? The only way you know is by creating a big goal, because you probably have to grow and become someone else in the process of getting to that goal, right? So that's how you start to discover a little bit more about your potential. So, how many of you have the MREA book? Excellent. If you don't have the MREA book, come see me when this is done. I'll make sure that you get a copy. How many of you have read the MREA book? I love your honesty. Okay, so I can't stress enough why this book is so important. I was coaching small businesses, bless you, in the principles of this book long before coming to Keller Williams. If you take real estate out of here, this is your blueprint for building a successful, sustainable, profitable business. And this is the leadership version of the book, which has all these tabs in it. You can go and have it spiral bound anywhere if you want, like Staples or Office Depot. And this book doesn't necessarily have to be read from cover to cover. So as we're talking today, I'm going to refer to a few pages. You can write them down and then look at them later as reference. The first 99 pages of this book is all about your mindset and thinking big. So this would be a great time of year. If nothing else, read those 100 pages and really get into that mindset, okay? Yeah.
And can I just say something? Please, you're on that book. The Dream Home Team is hosting an MREA book club.
Yes.
On Mondays at from 6 to 8 that Jay is doing. And I have to say that he did a phenomenal job.
Good, yeah, I've heard some great feedback about that. So please consider joining them, and that's a great way to get into even just some parts of the book. Okay, so who's seen this before? Okay, some of you, not all of you. So you might want to get a scrap piece of paper and write this down. This is really important. So who wants to help us understand what I just drew? What is this? Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm Mary.
Hi, Mary. Welcome. I'm Anna. Come sit right here.
All right, perfect.
Everybody say hi to Mary.
Hey.
Hi there, Haley. How are you?
Hi, sweetie.
I know this lady.
Awesome. So nice to meet you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm sorry about this.
Why is that happening?
It's
You
not
have to screw it in a little harder on the bottom.
okay.
I'll come to you.
All right. So who's seen this before? Tell us what we're looking at in your own words. E to P, yes. Look, Mary knows already. All right, so let's just write this down. This is the E to P model, and this is really what you're going to work on the next couple minutes. So it's a coaching paradigm that we use, and it's just going to help you understand a few things. So this E represents entrepreneurial. And when we think about being entrepreneurial, would you all agree you have this entrepreneurial spirit, and that may be one of the reasons why you're in real estate?
Yes.
Okay. And when you think about those natural things, what comes to mind? You know, about what got you here. What makes you a good fit for being in business?
The will to succeed.
What's that?
The will to succeed.
Sure, you have this will to succeed, maybe. How many of you would say you're bigger thinkers than a lot of people that you know? Okay. I'm going to help you here. Who can remember always feeling like they have a lot of restlessness? Like you always want a little more out of life. Okay. Who can say that they're naturally attracted to working with people? Sure. How about, you know, you've always been in sales? Okay. Something about sales attracts you. You like to be your own boss. You like to be in control of your time. You don't really like the idea of working for somebody else. You don't want to have confines and, yeah, right? You don't want that. Okay. So you're starting to understand, right? So would you all agree that whether you've been in this business for one day or 100 years, that there were some natural things that brought you into the business?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And for a little while, would you agree that those natural abilities kind of help you grow the business? Right? Your ability to connect with people, you're maybe a little bit faster paced than some other people, right? You have a lot of drive. Now, for any of you who have been doing this for a little while, or anything that you've done for a little while, what starts to happen eventually? What do you think this line is representing?
Your natural abilities only bring you to a certain level with what you're comfortable doing naturally.
Very well done. So what happens is, for a little while, this is what's going to help you grow your business. And who can say they ever felt like they hit a ceiling in their business? Either through a level of production, maybe even mindset, maybe through different behaviors that you were stuck in or not willing to adopt, right? And so what happens, how many times when you've hit that ceiling can you actually feel it, right? You actually feel it. So what happens when you feel it? What naturally starts to happen? Yeah, you know, we're human, so we get a little down about that, right? Maybe we blame it on everything else. Maybe we blame it on, you know, the system, the company, the this, the that. Maybe we just get a little frustrated, right? So we automatically find we go down just a little. But what brought you here? This spirit, this entrepreneurial spirit. So what naturally starts to happen? We go back up until what? We hit another ceiling. So why am I sharing this with you is because I'm hoping that you're going to create a plan to have a breakthrough year. And in order for you to break through this ceiling of achievement, because could you see how this could yo-yo a lot? And isn't this exhausting? This right here takes a lot of energy. This takes more energy from you than this does, right? Because this is the easy part because you're coasting on your natural abilities. But when you're feeling this, it sucks the life right out of you. Okay, so this is exhausting. So if you're ready for a breakthrough and you want to get up here, how many of you are ready for a breakthrough? Even though you've had a good year, maybe you just want a bigger one. What does this represent, the P?
Progress.
It does. It does. But it's a different word I'm looking for. Purposeful. Write that down. It's about being purposeful. So you will not experience a breakthrough at any level when you're hitting that ceiling of achievement until you apply something different. And you have to become more purposeful about it. So how do you become more purposeful? So it's where we take the natural stuff, stand on it, and build a bigger foundation with other things. What do we have to do in order to become more purposeful? Well, right now you're showing us by sitting in this room, right? You're here to take the next 90 minutes to learn something new maybe and apply some different elements to your business planning, right? You're actually creating a business plan. So that's one thing, we plan. And it's in writing, right? We create goals, we create a written plan, we get strategic. Write that down. In order to become more purposeful, we have to be learning-based. So we go to class, we might read more of The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, other books. We might get into coaching. That's what helps us to become more purposeful. Bold, working with a maps coach, working with a team leader or a productivity coach. What else? We use systems. We become habitual. We create rituals, right? Keller Williams is built on all kinds of systems, so you plug in. What else? You manage your time differently. Yeah, you track. So that could be another system, right? You're tracking. You get into accountability. And what's an easy and natural way to get into accountability? Don't judge me for spelling. Coaching, that becomes automatic. All right, what else? See, like when you sit down with your coach and we start going through like how's your business, what are your numbers? It's not about making you feel punitive or I'm not on track, I am on track. It's about helping you understand where the progress needs to be, right? So what else?
Share your goals.
Sure, so maybe it's a change in behavior. Are you following me now? Do you get this? So this is what you need to be prepared for. How will you have your breakthrough? What do you have to look at implementing in your business to make that next level possible? So who's ready to start thinking big? How many of you are thinking like it's time to have a bigger increase in your business? 25%, 50%, maybe you want to double, triple? See, I won't tell you the number's crazy until we sit down and figure out how you're going to get there. So we're going to do that together. All right, so I have an eraser something.
It was over by Alyssa there on the board.
Oh. Okay. So right now I want you to get comfortable in your seat, and I want you to take a deep breath in and a deep breath out, seriously. And I want you to think, and you can close your eyes if you have to, and I want you to think about a number that represents your income that you want to generate and take home to your family next year. Okay? I want you to think big. I don't want you to play safe. I want you to be realistic, but I want you to write the number down somewhere in your notes.
Is that before expenses or after expenses?
After your business expenses, the amount of money you want to take home for you and your family, your personal life. Your salary, I want to call it that. Okay, write the number down. We can't go any further until everyone has a number down. Everybody's good? And write it down. As you're thinking about this, I want you to write this acronym down. This is a way for you to set goals. It's about creating a SMART goal. So as you work this morning, your goal has to be specific. Why do the goals have to be specific? Yes, that's over here. You're ahead of the game. So here's the quick lesson around being specific with goals. Your mind is here to serve you. Your mind is here to serve you. And your mind will deliver whatever is programmed, right? Just like the CD that you put in your stereo, when you put it in, it plays whatever is on it. So if I put this CD in my stereo and play Beethoven, take it out and put the next one in and play Metallica, the stereo is not going to spit out the Metallica one and say, I didn't like that, play the other one. It just plays it. So your brain is the same way. So whatever you tell yourself is true, and however you see the goal is how well your brain will work to deliver it. So if you walk around saying, I just want to lose weight, your brain doesn't really know what that means. If I lose an ounce, are we okay? Right? So you have to get specific. So you have to know what the numbers are. It has to be measurable. How much by when? I want to lose 25 pounds by February 1st, whatever it is. It has to be attainable. Now let's talk about this for a second. How do you measure whether it's attainable or not? You're going to use logic versus emotion. Because is it true you can create a goal and your mind's going to say, oh, we can't do that?
Yes.
Right? So it's not about whether you feel like you can do it or not. It's about whether we create the strategy. Remember, we're going to be strategic. And if you can follow through on the action steps, will it produce the results that get you to your goal? That's how you measure attainability. Everybody with me on that? Okay. What else? It has to be realistic. Can I say I want to lose 50 pounds by December 1st? Probably not realistic, right? So you get how to do that in your business. And what does this represent? Timely. And you can look at a few things here, okay? You have to really take into consideration, it's more than just the how much by when. It's about how the activities fit into a certain space of time. So that's where the 411 comes in, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, just ask me after class. It's where you take those big goals and start to chunk it down into what's going to happen this month, what's going to happen this week. So it's about creating the time around the goal. So this is your guideline for this morning. All right, any questions, comments, ahas, anything so far? How are you feeling about what we're going to do next? Good? Excited? You're going to create your business on paper right now. You're going to build your business first. You're going to create your future right now, and then you're going to have a plan to just work into it. So who's ever heard about planning with the end in mind? That's what we're going to do. All right? So we're going to work from this packet first. Does everybody have one? Yes. All right. So this is a bigger class that is taught in Keller Williams that really takes into the entire 4 business models that you'll read about in the MREA. So when you open to the first page, you'll see the diagram. So for today's purpose, I'm focusing only on 2 models. However, I am going to be scheduling another class probably the first week in December on your budget, which is, the 3rd model. So look out for
We have a budget class that Matt is teaching on the 16th of November
Oh,
at 10 a.m. that Matt Gibbs is teaching.
okay. I'll touch base with him to see what he's covering. If it's any different, and if not, then that's great. Although I can always teach it again if you can't make it. All right, so let's just take a look at page 14, which is part of this bigger packet. So these are the 4 models in your business. And for some of you, this might be some news to you, that every business, regardless of the volume you're doing or the age of the business, has these 4 models. So what are the 4 models? What's the first one? The economic model. Okay, so basically that is telling you about the numbers you have to hit in your business. So you see the notes are there, right? It's going to reveal to you the numbers you have to hit. It's going to help you focus on appointments, but more importantly, it's conversion. Okay, because that's really where you need to look at developing your skill set, because that's going to help you to work smarter rather than harder, right? Right? Everybody following me about conversion? We'll talk more about it. What's the second model?
Lead gen.
Right. So in lead generation, what is this telling us? Basically, it's telling you how to create the numbers you need in the economic model, right? So in the economic model, where we're going to spend a lot of time this morning, you're going to figure out what all those goals are and what numbers you have to hit to get to the goal, right? So if you say you want to produce X amount of dollars, we're going to look at how much volume that is, what number of transactions that will be. So those are all those numbers. The lead generation model is how you're going to make those numbers come to reality, right? So we're going to take a look at starting the conversation today. I'm going to give you an opportunity to have some things to put into perspective. This is going to be homework. We don't have the time today to really sit here and create your marketing plan or your lead generation plan, but that would be your homework, okay? So we'll get to that for the end of the class. The third model is your budget model, right? So what does the budget model tell us? So, yeah, so another part of the economic model is to also show you money coming into your business and what you need to do with that money once it shows up. So part of what you're going to do with that money when it shows up is allot it for your budget. And your budget relates to what? Marketing, advertising, what else? It's funny, realtors say marketing and advertising first, always. And other business people, you know what they say first when I ask them what's in their budget? Operating expenses. Okay, so you have operating expenses too, right? So what are your operating expenses?
Car. Maintenance of
your vehicle, what else?
Manage for rent.
Yeah, if you have office rent, what else? Phone, taxes, office supplies, internet. How about education? Maybe you want to take classes like Gold, you want to hire a coach. What else? Some of you may develop teams, you might have salaries. That's not the same as having agents, because agents are actually going to show up in the economic model, and I'll explain that in a minute. But if you actually have a salary that you're paying someone, that would be an operating expense. right? What else? Board dues, that kind of stuff. You with me? Okay. And then, of course, marketing for sure. So we're going to talk a little bit about lead generation and a lot about economic. We may or may not touch too much on the budget model. The fourth model is the organizational model. And even if you are a solo agent right now, you have an organizational model. So when we talk about an organizational chart in a company, what are we looking at?
Who does what?
Yeah, the structure of the company, who does what, right? So is it true that on some days you are acting as a buyer's agent? Other days you might be acting as a listing agent. Some days you're acting as your admin. Other days you're acting as your transaction coordinator. Then you're a bookkeeper. You get me?
Yeah.
Right? So you, even as a solo agent, do you have an organizational chart? And we won't talk about this today, but this could be a conversation in coaching. Would it behoove you to create that version of your organizational chart right now? And why?
To see where you can leverage it out.
Right, because eventually you're going to hit a level of capacity, right? A ceiling of achievement. And then leverage is what needs to happen next. And it might be easy for you then to see how I can hire to those positions. Make sense? Okay, so to give you some reference material, if you want to check this out in your book, the MREA model, you can see that on page 128. To where?
172.
172. Thank you. Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
No. Oh, shh, Tony, I sounded smart.
Good job. All right, so let's turn the page.
Nice work.
Okay, so guess what? Here it is again, the 4 conversations. All right. Erin has been doing a fabulous job along with Alyssa to help you all understand this. And we're taking this to a new level this year because we feel that a lot of our agents don't really understand the value of this tool. And this is so important to this business planning topic this morning. Because as you set your goals, we talked about being more purposeful. And what did you say was part of becoming more purposeful, Robin? Tracking. Tracking. This is your tracking tool. So it is really important that if you are not using this or you don't know how to use it, that you see Erin and she can set up some smaller group classes, come to the CGI classes on Monday. This is about helping you track the activities that will keep you on track for your goal. So as you create the goals, this is the next step. Okay, so what are the 4 conversations? And if you coach with me, you probably know that this is how we usually get started, right? It's about knowing what's happening in your business. How often do you ask yourself these 4 questions? Probably weekly. Really, it's weekly. Okay, it's about knowing that every week you are reviewing how many appointments did I go on? Why is that important? So write this down. It's so simple. Appointments drive income. Good morning. Come on in. Appointments drive income. If you're not going on enough appointments, is it possible you might not make enough money to meet your goals?
Yes.
Okay, so it's that simple. Yes, you want to prospect. Yes, you want to lead generate. Yes, you want to go bold. Yes, you want to go to these classes. But at the end of the day, the prospecting has to convert, that's the conversion again, into an appointment. Appointments drive income. That's what I need you to keep in mind. So we're going to look every week. How many appointments did I go on? How many new listings did I take? And I know some of you are focused on being buyer's agents, so you'll put that into your own vocabulary. Well, I have to ask you something. Why do you think we always focus on listings? Listings do bring the buyers, so if you're focused on taking listings, will they generate leads? Yes. And if you're a Keller Williams agent, what do you know about that? You get your leads. If it's your listing, it's always your lead. So this is an opportunity for some of you maybe who are with us for the first time to really see how this is going to even out and leverage your business, right? So I've had agents come to me and say, how can I generate more buyer leads? I said, take listings, right? So now some of you want to have a focus on being a buyer's agent exclusively. That's cool. So just put into your language. but we also know listings create market share, right? And that's how you own a piece of the market. Now, what do we then look at? The third question is, how many closings have you been on in the last week? Because we want to track your profit. Salespeople track volume, usually. They track how much did I sell. And it's okay because some of you I know love the recognition of how much you sold, and that's good because I'm like that too. Business owners think about profit. So that may be a little bit of a transition for some of you, and that's okay. We're going to work through that. You got to start thinking about your bottom line, okay? Because if you sell a house for $200,000 or you sell a house for $400,000, is it possible your profit may look different? Right. So see, as a business person, that would be part of that working smarter, not harder thing. But as a salesperson, you say, well, I sold something. Get it? So that's a little bit of a different mindset for some of you. Okay, what's going on here with the wall of value? What is that about? What is this?
I was actually going to ask the same thing.
Okay, good, great. Okay, so here's what this is. This is what you bring to the table. What are your value propositions? Why does someone want to work with you? Why should they hire you? So if you haven't created a list of your value propositions, that would be really important homework for you to do. And then once you have it in writing, you can use that in different forms, right? Could you not include that in some of your marketing? Couldn't that even become just part of your script, right? But in order for you to really be comfortable with just saying that out loud, you have to connect with it. You have to articulate it. So why would somebody hire you? So it's about who you are as an individual, who you are as a realtor, your level of service, your track record, your communication skills, your negotiation skills, perhaps even something about the team you work with or the company you are aligned with. That's your choice if you want to focus on that. But it's really about what you bring to the table. Why I should hire you over somebody else. What will you deliver? So when you look at this wall of value, this is how you're able to move from taking a listing, right, going on appointments and taking a listing, to actually making money. Because any agent can list, but what would be in this wall of value? When we talk about what you bring to the table, what you deliver, there's one thing I left out, it's big umbrella. Your marketing, right? Your marketing is part of your wall of value. What is that marketing plan that you're including in a listing presentation that says to that seller, you're the one? What is it about your communication and your feedback and your reports that you provide to the seller that makes you the one, right? That's all the wall of value, because that's what gets you from taking on the business to closing the business. Make sense? Mm-hmm. So we talk about the wall of value in the market center. What do we deliver to you? What do me, Erin, Alyssa, Rosemary, Pilates, what do we do when we get up in the morning? We're thinking of ways to deliver value to you, right? Because that's what helps you grow your business and keeps you working with Keller Williams. Make sense? Any questions on value? Okay, so turn to the next page. We basically talked about everything that is there at the top. You know what listing appointments are. You know, you understand listings taken, closings, profit, right? So when we talk about your GCI, we're talking about the big number today, and then we're going to drill down to what is your part of that big number. Something that you may or may not know about, who in the room is using Profit Dash?
I started it. Yeah.
I just saw it for the first time. And I'm like,
So Erin's going to talk more about this at the next team meeting. Maybe start stripping some stuff out on our Facebook page. I think probably 5% of our agents are using Profit Dash. So this is an app you can download, and this is going to help you track all of your expenses. It'll actually track your mileage for you. It'll create an easy-to-use spreadsheet, and at the end of the year, you'll have everything you need in your business to, you know, really be ready for your accountant. All right, so some things are automatic, other things you have to put in manually, and it's really great. So you just go to your app store and download Profit Dash. and it's free.
And the username and password is the same as your KW username and password, so you can get right in.
Part of it is free. Thank you, but the bulk of it is free. There's another tool that you have to pay for.
Everything Anna's mentioned is free.
And what do you have to pay for?
Profit and loss. It's
To do a
almost
P&L for you? Oh, it does a P&L? Okay, so that's, how much is that?
I bought it, I don't remember what I paid for it, $99.
$99? Okay, well, so that's something you can look into. So that feature that you pay for is to take it to that next level of really accounting. And some of you might use QuickBooks. I think this integrates with QuickBooks, right?
Really?
Yeah, I believe so.
That's like, unreal. I can't believe this.
All right, so check out Profit Dash. Okay, let's turn the page. How many of you did your homework? Some of you got my email to prep you for this class?
I did as far as I could go.
Okay, that's fine. And if you didn't, that's okay too. So this page represents what I sent you in an email. And basically, it's just so you can kind of understand where you're starting from right now. I will say this, though. I believe you can start fresh at this point, too. You're going to take into account what you've done this past year, but I believe that you can just create a goal that is bigger and means that we're just going to track the activities and move forward. But if you have done this prep work, for a lot of you, it will definitely come in handy. Okay, turn to the next page. So these 4 conversations are actually part of what we call the growth initiative. You've probably heard us talk about this before. We'll continue talking about it again. These are just some other tools that are available to you, and if you didn't know that, come and see Erin about it. Erin also does a new agent orientation class every week. You might want to plug back in because that's where she does an overview of all the tech tools, and that might be a refresher for you. But you do have a pipeline tool, and you have other things that will help you track the key metrics in your business, okay? All right, let's turn the page. We'll come back to that page in a minute. Let's go to page 22. All right, so the examples in these handouts are using big numbers because we're taking the premise of the millionaire real estate agent, okay? So I don't want you to get lost in the numbers. I want you to follow along with the formula. Does that make sense? Because some of you may have some big numbers to plug in and others, your numbers may look just a little different. That's fine, just understand the process. So couple things to make sure everyone's on the same page and understands, and there's no shame or fear in raising your hand saying, I don't know what that means. So everyone knows what we mean by GCI, right? Okay, so that is your gross closed income, and it's what you're coming back to this office in the form of a check from a closing, to make it really simple. Everyone got that? Okay. What is your cost of sales? This is where it may not be as familiar to you. What is our cost of sales?
What you spend on getting the listing, marketing the listing.
Nope.
That's what you get from a broker.
Cost of sales is what you're reporting.
Okay. So it's the monies that come off the very top of your gross commission. And it's basically the split with your broker, your royalty or franchise fee, and any referral fees you might be paying out. And if you have a team, that would be also the income that is part of the buyer's specialist income, right? So if you have a team, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't have a team, don't worry about it yet. I can answer questions later. So basically, when you come to the office with that check from the closing, right, that represents your GCI. And then when Alyssa processes the check, she takes the cost of sales out for you, correct? And then you have what?
You have what you have left, what comes to you, and then you've got to deduct your expenses.
So I'm going to start changing some of your terminology. And for some of you who've been in the business a long time, I know it's going to sound weird. When you get handed that check or it goes in your account, what do you normally call it?
Commission.
My commission. I'm going to ask you to start changing your terminology. That's not your commission. It's your business's revenue. It's your business's revenue. You have a real estate business, true? Does your real estate business have expenses? Yes. That is not your commission. That's your business's revenue. And some of you can relate to this, right? Because you've been through the pain of this before. And you've taken that, whatever it is, $4,000, and you're like, great, I'm going to pay this and I'm going to pay that. I'm going to take the kids to the movies. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go there, food shop, whatever it is, right? And what didn't some of you think about? Taxes, what else?
Operating expenses.
Operating expenses. Do you get where I'm going with that? So as a market center, if Rosemary Pilati spent the money that came in first for herself, what would you think of her as a business owner? If she took money that came into her first to go on a trip, pay her mortgage, or go food shopping before she paid the bills here, what would you think of her?
Irresponsible.
Absolutely. Or me as the CEO, right? If I did that, what would you think of us?
You don't know how to run a business.
Absolutely. Inept. They don't belong running a business. This is where some of you aren't going to like me. This is what happens in coaching. So is that the same thing in your business?
Yes.
And I'm not blaming any of you. Sometimes what you don't know, you don't know. But maybe you've been a little irresponsible in the past. So I'm going to ask you to plan some different numbers today. Some of this is going to feel a little different. You need to put your business first. Why?
It's gonna generate the other.
Yeah, everybody's right. If you don't put your business first, it can't deliver what you need. It can't sustain itself. You don't want to be that agent anymore who walks around saying, I can't afford to go to Bolt. I can't afford to farm. I can't afford to do this. I can't afford to do that. I have to put I have to make those decisions about taking care of my business. All right? So, operating expenses are all the costs of doing business, including marketing, rent, salaries, equipment, supplies. We covered that before, right? Okay. So you go to the closing. You get the check. That's your GCI. You bring it to the office. Alyssa processes it. She takes off what?
Cost of sales.
Cost of sales. And then what are you left with? Your business revenue, which is actually a gross number. It's not a net number. Why is it not a net number? Because you haven't done anything with it yet. It's the gross to your business. Then what do you do next? Take out your operating expenses. And then what can you decide at that point? What is net to you personally? Everybody with me? So we just touched a little bit on budgeting, but you have to understand this in order to do the goals next. Everybody's good? Everybody's still breathing, right? I know sometimes it's like, oh, this is not what I want to do. All right, turn the page. Would you all agree that there is definitely a correlation between your average sale price and the number of units you have to sell? Of course. We all get this, right? So obviously, the higher your sale price means what?
To hit your goal.
Fewer units you need to sell. Okay, so that's easy. Let's talk about conversion rates. When we talk about conversion rates, what are we really talking about?
How many?
Could be skill set, and it's two things: skill set, activities. That's it. Conversion rates boil down to two things. What is your level of skill, which will show me how high or low your conversion rates are? And what activities are you engaging in, which can also impact your conversion rate and how high or low they are. Would you agree? So what are some activities you have to focus on in terms of conversion rates?
Scripts.
Depends on what we're looking at, what numbers, right? Right, so we have to talk about, when we're looking at lead generation, we have to talk about how many leads are you working with to begin with? What quality leads are they? When we talk about going on appointments, what else are we talking about? Maybe scripts, how bulletproof is your listing presentation, right? And when we take listings, what will impact your conversion rates from listings taken to listings sold?
How you handle it.
Marketing, communication, right? The price, right? Everybody with me?
Yeah.
Okay, so you understand there's different parts of depending on what we're looking at, what we're converting, there are different things that will impact it. And you see that all at the bottom of the page. Turn the page. I'm going to help you make sense of this in a couple minutes. Why are we talking about conversion rates and why are we talking about the numbers we have to hit when we're thinking about our income goal? Those are the drivers, right? So whenever we look at our business, we have to identify what are the metrics, which are the numbers you have to hit, what are the levers and what are the drivers, right? So all these things are driving and leveraging your business to get you where you need to be. So if your conversion rates are lower, will you have to work harder? Yes. So that's part of what we need to look at here, because is everyone in the room going to be at the same level of conversion? No, probably not. I'm going to give you the MREA models of conversion. That's what you're seeing on that page. And you can decide if that's what you want to work towards or not. How do you know what your conversion rates are?
Hit the track.
So now I'm back to promoting the whole CGI thing again. See, that's why you've got to track too. It's not just about knowing whether you're on track or not. It gives you really important data, because now when you're looking at creating your business plan, if you've not been tracking, you may have a little struggle with figuring out your conversion rates. But we can go with a baseline, and then how will you know if you're above or below that baseline? You'll have to track. All right, so promise me you're going to start tracking? Okay, awesome. All right, who's learned anything new so far? Tell me something you've learned that was new. Anybody? What is it? Profit Dash? Okay, good.
Yeah, that was you.
Who else learned something new? Fred? The E to P? Okay, good. What else?
Business revenue rather than commission.
Was that a new aha, a little change in mindset? Okay, great. Who else? Anybody else? What have you learned so far?
Track.
To track. Okay, good. All right, so then I can keep teaching. They're learning something. All right, let's look at the next page. It says 25 at the top. Okay. So everyone understands what an appointment is, right?
Yeah.
I hope so, because I know some agents think some things are appointments and they're really not. What is an appointment? You're sitting down to make a presentation, and what is your intention on that appointment? To close it, right? So either get the listing or sign buyer's agreement, and you're going forward and you're in business together, right? That's an appointment. So right now I want you to think about, this is part of your homework. If you don't have it, it's okay. How many appointments do you think you go on in a year? Or in a month? Maybe that will help. Okay, I just want you to start thinking about that. How many of those appointments were listings? How many of those appointments were with buyers? And as you're thinking and reflecting on this past year, what needs to be tweaked or changed? So some of you might be thinking, you know, I didn't go on as many listing appointments as I think I could have, and that's going to change this year. Maybe I went on too many appointments last year and I didn't get all the listings. So that might have to change, right? So maybe you have to develop more skill set in that area, scripting, presentations. You can come to classes on that. You can talk to other agents and improve that skill set, coaching. All right? So the conversion rates are going to start to come into play. All right, let's jump over to the top. It says page 28. It looks like this economic model. This is going to be your worksheet. Okay? This is going to be your worksheet. What is the net income goal that is written at the top of that page?
1 million.
If your net income goal for next year is to seriously net $1 million, then you can leave that there. And if it's not, it's okay. You're going to cross it out right now. And you're going to put your income goal. Now, before you write it down, I asked you to put that number down in your notes, right?
Yeah.
Go look at it right now. Where did you write it down? Look at it. And before you transfer that number to this piece of paper, I need you to ask yourself, is this a SMART goal? Am I thinking big enough? Am I planning to save? Am I committed to making this happen? And if you can say yes and move forward, I'm going to ask you to bump it up anyway and write that number down. Now, I'm not the bold coach, so I'm not going to ask you to double things because that's what they do in bold. They'll tell you double things all the time. But maybe stretch a little bit more. So if your goal is 100,000, maybe it should be 125 or 150. It's got to be reasonable. It's got to be a smart goal. But now you can write it down. So you're crossing out $1 million and you're writing down your net income before taxes. Everybody have a number down?
Before taxes?
Yeah, it says right there before taxes.
Oh, you're welcome.
Good?
Yeah.
Anybody willing to share a number? It's okay, because there's no judgment in this room, right? Never.
100K.
Awesome.
175.
170, you need to go bigger.
Yeah.
I coach you, no way. Love you. I say it because I love you, because I believe you can go bigger. Okay. It's still not big enough, but okay. That's okay. 200's good. I love it.
Before taxes. Okay. Because I screwed up before, so 375.
Awesome. Who else?
300.
Awesome.
100.
100? Awesome. How much?
150?
150?
1.25.
Really, Miriam?
I know I could do more, but I'm away for 3 months, so I have to.
Okay, so that's a smart goal. I get it. All right, fine. I love it. Awesome.
All right, so I know what you're gonna do to me.
You know I push you because I love you, right? If I didn't love you, I wouldn't push you.
So we've done this exercise once before, and I got stuck in this same spot. So I had initially wrote 50, and you're like, no. So I'm still thinking 50, but I'm like, she's gonna make me write bigger, so I'm gonna write 75. And then you told me to go even bigger. I'm like, oh my God, that makes me nervous.
So here's the thing, Allison.
Yeah.
I want, and this is true for everybody in the room, okay? You have to be willing to put your activities where your money is, right? So whatever the number is, you got to just really know that you have to put the time in, and the time has to be spent on the right activities. See, a lot of you put the time in, but then I wonder if you're spending a lot of time in your minutia and not your 20%. Some of you, quite honestly, and I love you, you got to put more time in. There's a few of you that can say, that's fair. I'm not saying you have to work 15 hours a day, but some of you might have to firm up the time a little bit. So it's all about what's going to come into the goal.
Right.
Right? You got 12 months ahead of you. What's it going to be?
100. I'll do 100.
Consider everything with all the other obligations.
Well, sure, you have to be
And
realistic
being
about your
realistic,
time.
I really do think 75 is reaching and still makes me nervous. Yeah, in a good way.
Awesome. That was what I was just going to
In a
ask
good
you.
way.
Does it give you that feeling in the pit of your stomach?
Yes, because 50, I always, I feel like even 50 is reaching.
Okay. Then
Yes.
$75,000 is an awesome goal.
Yes.
Awesome.
All right, thanks.
Do you want to share?
I did the same as she.
75?
Yeah,
Does it make you feel nervous?
No, I just, at the moment, no, I just like to reset, but I'm told different things.
Uh-huh. All right, maybe not a little higher. Anybody else want to share theirs? We get everybody? Robin, what's yours? Nice. 75,000. And in a year from now, when I'm sitting with you asking you how your year was, and you made $75,000, how do you feel? Awesome. You what?
Like it could have been better.
Then you need a bigger goal. See, you guys tell me what you're thinking. I don't even have to. You quit. Did you hear what Anna just said?
Yeah.
I said she said her goal is 75,000. That's great. And when we sit down a year from now and I ask you how your year was, and you hit $75,000, how are you going to feel? And she goes, I'm going to feel good, but I'm going to feel like I could have done more. I said, well, then it's not a big enough goal. So bump it up. All right. So we have the goal.
Yeah.
Gloria,
I'm just a little
you need help?
confused
Tell me.
because I know what I want to come away with.
Yeah.
But my number in my head is after taxes,
Her number's
after
profit.
everything is all paid, and this is what I want to come home. So like 2018, I want to end 2018 with 200,000 in my pocket after everything is paid.
Okay, so I would say 250.
250.
You know, some of it though is tax bracket too, so.
Yeah.
Well, taxes, we gotta figure 30%, right?
So that's 60.
So
Yeah, that'd be 260. Yeah. You know what? You know what? 275. You bring up a good point because you're hitting a different tax bracket too.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Everybody's good.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has a number. Okay. Are we having fun yet? You just changed it.
Everybody's changed their number.
I love it.
Second comment.
Okay. All right. Let's take a look at this page. You ready?
Always.
Now, you're just going to have to trust the math, and you just have to trust the formula. Does everybody have a phone with them or a calculator? Get it out. I should have put that in my email. Sorry, but I think everyone has a phone now.
I have to go get my phone.
Okay.
You can use mine, Rosa.
Okay, now, there's a formula that will help you understand, because according to the IRA book, what we find is that a certain percentage of the GCI that you're going to create is going to go towards cost of sales. A certain percentage of the GCI that you're going to create is going to go towards operating expenses. This number you have written down is not your GCI, right?
No.
What is that? Your net to you. So we have to figure out the bigger number. You all with me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I know that it says here, gross GCI divide by 0.416. You can't do that unless it's $1 million, because that's the level for $1 million. So I'm going to give you your level. You ready?
Okay.
All right. If you have a goal that is to net $100,000 or less, you're going to divide by 0.55.
0.55.
0.55. If your goal is to net above $100,000, but below $500,000, you're going to use 0.5. 0.5. If anyone's goal, and is anyone in the room? I don't think anyone set a goal to net more than 500, right? Okay. So you're either going to divide by 0.55 or 0.5. So I'm going to do this with you. No, it's a big number. It's a really big number.
You did say divide by.
Yep. So let's do that.
180, 180.
So that's what you might.
So I'm just going to do this with you. I'm going to use $100,000 as my thing, and I'm going to divide by 0.55. Oops. 0.55. Why is that not going?